Okay, Pei Ches Amud Beis on the top. Mishnah on the top. That's okay. Get Musa. Get Musa be Yisrael Kasha. Over Goyim puzzle. Get Musa. No. If you look inside, you see Ayin Vav Sin. It means it's a forced get. If the husband was forced to give the get. So here it depends if it depends if it's by Jews or by Goyim. Get Musa be Yisrael Kasha. If the Jews force somebody to give a get, then it's a kosher get. If a Goyim possible, if the Goyim forced somebody to give a get, so it's a possible get.
Maybe that's easier for.
We'll see the Gemara. Before the Gemara is not clear enough in the Mishnah law. And then the Mishnah continues that by Goyim also it's possible to use the Goyim. Of a Goyim, that if the Bezdin, the Jews, doesn't say Bezdin, but it means the ones who are responsible to carry out the get, that they tell the Goyim to force somebody. Let's say they're stronger, the Jews are not strong enough, but the Goyim don't force him to do what they want him to do, but they say do what the Jews want you to do. I say Mashi Yisrael, then it's okay. So then as the Navi Yisrael, they're like shluchim. It's not the Goy doesn't have shlichus, but it means that it's the business that's forcing them. And the Goyim don't say do what we tell you to do what the Jews tell you to do. So that's the Mishnah. That a forced get by Jews is kosher, a forced get by Goyim is not kosher. But if the Goyim tell the husband they're hitting him, choftam also, and they tell him do what the Jews tell you to do, so then it is kosher. It's not so simple. Get Musa Yisrael Kedin kosher. Now the question is why they're forcing him. Are they rightfully forcing him or they're unrightfully forcing him? Is he mechuyev to give a get? So this is what it says, that it's only kosher if they have kedin, if they are justfully forcing him to give a get. Right? We're not talking about Goyim now again. We're doing Gemara further. First the Mishnah says about a Jew is kosher and by a Goy is possible. And then the Goyim is to tell him to do what the Jew says, that's also kosher. Now the Gemara says that it's only kosher if the Jews do it, only if they have a right to do it. Kedin means that the halacha calls for it. Whatever he's not whatever the case would be, that he's mechuyev to give a get. So if he's mechuyev to give a get, that's when Bezdin forces him and it's kosher. But shelo kedin, pasel, uposel. But if they halachically don't have he's not mechuyev to give a get, and the Bezdin is forcing him for other reasons, unjust reasons, the woman gave a lot of money, whatever it might be. So then even if it's Jews, also it's possible. But here it says uposel. But it is a little bit of a get to make Rabbanan, it's going to make that she's possible to a Kohen. That since the husband gave a get, even though it was forced and it was shalokidin, and it's not a kosher get, but we had many times, or sometimes even not a kosher get, but it's a reach get, and it makes it possible to a Kohen. She's considered a grusha to a Kohen. Over Goyim, kedin pasel uposel. Shelo kedin afilu recha get involved. If the Goyim forced, again, whenever we say Goyim, we don't mean that the Jews are utilizing hiring the Goyim to force that. The Mishnah said it already. The Gemara's not going to talk about it. As far as I saw, maybe I didn't see nothing on yet. No, maybe I didn't see the whole Gemara yet. But when the Goy is told, when the Goyim tell do what the Jews say, the Goyim force and they say do what the Jews are telling you to do. What the Bezdin says, that is the din of Jews. So we're not going to talk about that. Whenever we say Goyim, we mean Goyim that are doing it on their own. So it says here, if the Goyim, even if they're doing it halachically correct, they're not saying do what the Jews do, what the Jews tell you. But they happen to be right. They happen to be right that the person will be free to give a get. So here it says that since they're Goyim, so it's still possible. Uposel. Possible means that it's not a kosher get, but she does become possible to Kohanim because she's a little bit of a grusha. But if they're doing it shalokadin, then it's nothing. Then she's not even possible to Kohanim. This is what Shmuel's did. So Shmuel put in another factor. The Mishnah talks about the factor if it's Jews or Goyim, and Shmuel puts in the factor if they're halachically correct. So by each one, there's goes down a level. By a Jew, if they have a right, halachically correct, they could force to give a get, then it's kosher. If they have no right to make him give a get, so it's a puzzle get, but still it's enough that a puzzle serves to a Kohen. But by Goyim, everything goes down as notch. So even when they're doing it correctly, it's not a kosher get, possible posel. It's possible get, but she's possible to Kohanim. If it's shalokadin, then it's nothing. Then it's even kosher. She's even kosher to marry a Kohen, but she's not considered a grush at all. I think so. But it has to be but we're talking about on the Jewish man. They're forcing a Jewish man to give a get. So it has to go with the Jewish law. It's considered halachically correct. Yes. That she can't marry a Kohen. She's considered a grusha that she can't marry a Kohen. The Gemara doesn't talk about. The Gemara has no difficulty. It seems. How come when the Bezdin did a shalom kedin that is possible? Surely midrabanan that really is not a good get because of shalom kedin. But the fact that they're Jews, so it does make it a little bit. The midrabanan we're going to make a gzera and make a proposal to Kohen. If it will be kedin, that's mamish a get. The shor to Kohen, she's mamish a grusha. When it's shalom kedin, it's not. It's minadin. It's not a good get. But midrabanan they made that it should be posted that she's a little bit got a name of a grusha, so she's not allowed to marry a Kohen. That the Gemara doesn't seem to discuss, but the Gemara does discuss the next one about a goyim when they did it kedin. This line, with a goyim kedin possible, that the Gemara is going to discuss. Manushach, like manush, the word manushach means what do you hold? Whatever you hold, we say like manushach in the term of whatever you're going to say is not going to be good. So yes, manushach, what do you hold? Goyim b'nei asiyah ninu. If the goyim have a right to force, means that when they force, it has a din the same as Bezdin would force. So then it's Keshui Nami is kosher. So it should be kosher. The same way if Yisrael, Musa B'Yisrael is kosher, so then Musa B'Goyim should be kosher. And and if they're not considered those that are able to force a Jew to give a get, so it should be nothing. So how come we made that it should apostles to Kohanim? Because it's bothering the Gemara. The Gemara doesn't yet know that it's Rabbanan. The Gemara doesn't understand it. Why should it be by the first king, by Jew shalom kedin possible apostle? The Gemara understands it's a gzera to if it would have been kedin, and then it will be a mamash get, even though this is not a get, but we made it possible to Kohanim because there's a little bit reach get. But by the going, the Gemara doesn't know that yet. So the Gemara says manavshach. If they're the same as Jews, they're the same as Jews, then it should be kosher. And if they're not, so they have no, so their forcing is nothing. So it shouldn't even be possible to Kohanim. It shouldn't be a grush at all. So Amar Rav Misharshia. So the first teretz is Rav Misharshia. So how come by a goy it should be not a good get, but it's still possible to marry a Kohen? It shouldn't be either it's kosher or it's nothing. The Gemara doesn't know yet how come you made something in between. The first thing the Gemara does seem to understand, when the Jew does it, kedin is kosher mamash, mamash a get. If it's shalom kedin, so they made possible that the Gemara doesn't seem to have an issue with. Rabbana, they made a gzera. Sometimes the Jews do have a right to force. So even when they didn't have a right to force, it's enough to pass it to Kohen. But by the goyim, the Gemara starts off manavshach. If they have the right to force, so they should be mamash like a Jew, and they did it kedin, so it should be a kosher get. And if they have no right to force, the goyim are nothing, so then it shouldn't even pass up to Kohanim either.
That's what we're saying by going.
That's what it says. Over goyim kedin possible posel. And the Gemara is asking that doesn't make sense. Why should it be possible posel? Either it's kosher or it's nothing. So the Gemara says, "I'm Rav Shasha about Torah." To get big chiddush, the Gemara is going to object to this soon. But Rav Shasha said about Torah, get musa b'goyim kosher. Really, it's kosher. Really, the goyim also can. And again, not talking about that the goyim said, "Same Mashiach Yisrael Lom Melucha." Regular goyim, the goyim came on their own. They saw some injustice and they forced the Jew to give a get. Kedin, they did the right. They hit on the right halacha. So he says that the right says a good get. So how come they said that? That's why apostles the Kohen, because she's really a grusha. Umata mamu pasul. How come they? Musa, forced. The act means the word comes from maaseh. So when someone's meuseh, means that he's forced to do that. Umata mamu pasul. How come Rabbanan they made that it's not a good get? If the goyim forced kedin, why is it a possible get? The rice is kosher. Shalo take olachas v'yachas olechas v'tor latzma b'goyim u'mavkas latzma miyad b'ayla. It's going to be too free for all. Then the woman, if they know that the goyim could force, they're going to hire a hoodlum to force her husband to give a get, and she thinks she got a get. Really, she didn't get a get because it's shalo kedin. The horror means the case that the woman's going to be forced hiring a guy to force her husband to give a get. It's going to be shalo kedin. But it's going to be too open. If you're going to see that the goyim sometimes if the goyim get involved, not under the authority of Bezdin, I say Mashiach Yisrael Omer, so then it's too free for all. Then the woman might utilize the mafia to get a get from the husband. So we have to let everybody know that the goyim are not involved over here. That's why. So Mishasha thinks he's happy. He says that the rice is kosher, and that's why she's surely possible to a kohen. If the goyim forced to give a get when it's kedin. So it's really kosher with the rice. But we don't want to have the goyim involved, so we said it's possible. But she sure cannot marry a Kohen because really she is divorced. But the Gemara doesn't agree with Rabbi Shashi. Hachi shelo kedin afilu reach get einbo. If you're saying that really with the rice of the kosher should be the same level as a Jew, and by a Jew we said when it's shelo kedin, it's possible also. So by a guy that did the shelo kedin, it should be on the same level. How come it says in how come Shmuel said shelo kedin afilu reach get einbo when the guy forced someone to give a get shelo kedin? So then it's not even possible to a Kohen. But now be shelo kedin to Yisrael it should be on the same level as when a Jew does a shelo kedin. When a Jew is forced someone to give a get shelo kedin, the din is that it's pasul or posel, that it's not a good get because we're shelo kedin, but it does pasul to Kohen because it's something similar. It's a gzera. Same also, you should make the same gzera. If when it's kedin, it's kasher with the raisa, when it's shelo kedin, you shouldn't say that it's nothing. It should at least be at the same level as when the Jew did a shelo kedin. It's true that it's possible because it did a shelo kedin, but you should make the same zera, the same way you make by a Jew when it's shelo kedin, so it's possible to kohanim. So by the goyim also, if they did shelo kedin, it should also be possible to kohanim. How come you say that it's nothing? So
that's in the mission, right? Where it says it's nothing.
We have to have the Gemara also. The Mishnah says that by a Jew is kosher, by a guy is possible. It doesn't go to the details. Shmuel went into the details and said it makes it. There's a factor about if it's kedin or not. The Gemara said the Mishnah says one factor: Jews and goyim. There's another factor you have to consider. That's if they had a right to do it. Was it Allah correct or not? Was it kedin or shalom kedin? And that's the Gemara's kasha over here. That if you say that by a goyim when they did it kedin, the rice is kosher. According to that, the Gemara is explaining. Rabbi Shasha will say when the Mishnah says get Musa b'goyim is possible, maybe it's only b'rabbanim, but the rice it is kosher if they did it kedin. But if you say that, so then it doesn't make sense. How come when they did shalom kedin, that's a feel recha get einbo? It should be also the same as when a Jew does a shalom kedin, posel or posel. So when a guy does a shalom kedin, it also should be posel or posel. Not shouldn't say recha get einbo. It's nothing. She could even marry a kohen. That's the Gemara's objecting to Rabbi Shasha's pshat. So therefore, Ella had Rabbi Shasha bedusehi. I'm not sure what the word reducer exactly means, but it means that it's false. That is not true. Rabbi Shasha is a mistake. It's wrong. So we have to go back and explain what's this thing with a goy. Either it's kosher or it's nothing. Why can they make something in between? The time of my, how come they made this middle issue that it should be kosher or posel when they did it kedin? Kedin b'kedin the Yisrael michlif. Shalo kedin b'kedin Yisrael no michlif. The real only problem is when it's kedin b'Yisrael. Means but the rights of the guy, the more if a guy forces even kedin, it's nothing. They don't have the right to force. So a guy doesn't have the right to force. Even if he's doing it kedin, he doesn't have the right to force. We don't, except that's nothing. It's a puzzle get. The only thing is going to be a gzera. The only thing that's really a problem is when Yisrael does it kedin. You have to have two factors in order that it should be a kosher get. That Jews are forcing him to do it halachically. Halachically, he has to give a get, and the Jews are forcing him. That's when it's a kosher get. And the rest of it is drabanan. So he made two drabanans. He made one drabanan when the Jews did it shalom kedin, and we made also apostle midrabanan if the goy did it kedin, because that's mistakable, confusable. You could confuse if a Jew does it kedin. Yeah, we want to say that when a goy does it kedin, also it should. They might make a mistake and think that it's. If we're going to say by a goy that it's nothing, they might come to say by a Jew also it's nothing. So you have to make it gzera. Really, only when the Jews forced kedin, so then it's a kosher get. And really, if a guy forces, it's not a get. But we have to make it gzera because if they're going to say the halacha like the way it really is, that when a guy forces, it's nothing. So then they're going to think when a Jew forces, also it's nothing. So they made it gzera, and they said if the guy forced kedin, it is also possible from a kohen. They're not going to say that it's a kosher get. It's not a kosher get. But they want to say that they made the din that she's possible to marry a kohen. But the next step, one step further, that it's a goy and also it's shalom kedin. You don't have to be so goes there. Over there, to make gzera that even a goy shalom kedin, we should make it possible to a kohen because a gzera to Yisrael did it kedin. That's like two steps. Gzera. We're not going to make gzera over there. So again, there's one daraisa, there are two drabanans, and there's one no drabanan either. When Yisrael did it kedin, you have both factors, then it's a kosher get. They made two drabanans. Either if a Jew did it shalom kedin, or if a guy did it kedin. So either both of them are going to be pasul, but they pasul for a kohen because of a gzera. But if they have both factors are missing, it's a guy shalokadin, so there's no reason to make a gzera, and therefore she's even mutter to a kohen. Which one? Michlef is exchangeable, confusable. Might make it might like a chalfan, right? As a money changer, the word to be cholef is to change. So they'll change it, they'll confuse it. If you're going to say that when a guy is forced, it's nothing, they'll think that when a Jew forces also it's nothing. So they have to make a gzera over there. But to say when a guy did a shalokadin to make him to jump two steps, that when a Jew did it kedin, there's no reason to make a gzera. And Rashi says if you can make a gzera, it'll be called a gzera l'gzera. It's a double gzera because you have two factors that are wrong. One is that it's a goy, and also that it's shalokadin. That you don't have to be goes already. So that's halacha. It's called a get meusa, a forced get, and it says here that it's nothing. But if it's either a Jew shalokadin or a goy kedin, then it's possible uposel. It's not a good get, but she does become possible to kohanim. The only case that's really kosher get is when it was Jews who did it halachically right. And that's a big problem nowadays. The business sometimes is it halachically right that they are forcing to give a get? Not so clear sometimes. The business has to make sure that they're forcing only if the husband's really mukhayim. Right.
Maybe the woman is a cold. Oh.
Yeah, things like that. Who is he mukhayim to give the get? So they hear her story, and then he says mukhayim to give a get, and he says the story's not like that. So it's not so simple that person can forced to give a get, and this could be a puzzle get. She's not really divorced, and she thinks that she is. So that's a problem. Abaye, and also the Mishnah said that if the person does have to force somebody, so it says that if the goyim say do what the Jews are saying, that's also considered that the Jews do. Abaye
That's 10.
Yeah, that we don't talk about. Abaye Ashkel Rav Yosef the Yosef Kamasa Giti. Abaye saw that Rav Yosef was forcing to give a get. And a kedin, of course. Amalei Vanana Yotos Tanana. So Abaye had a side problem that the din that Bezin could force, he thought it was only if you're smuchim, only if you have smicha. And in Babel they didn't have smicha, so Hedyot shouldn't have the right to force. But Tanya, we learned the Brisa. So first it brings a din, another din. At the end of it is going to say that the yotos are not good. But first it's a side din. Rashi says agorios means groups, like from the word oger. I'm not sure if Rashi knew it from what I just said, took the word in Hebrew. That it means groups of goyim. But it means like a court. Every time you find agorios shel goyim, afapisha the name kedine Israel. From the context, it sounds like it's a court. When you find courts of goyim, even though they're paskin correctly, the same way the Jews say you're supposed to paskin, you can't become bound to that. You can't go to a goyish court, even if they're doing the right laws. They have the constitution, all the laws are right, but you're not allowed to go to a goyish business. These are the laws you should put before them. Only before Jewish judges, not before goyim, even if they're saying the right thing. And that's a big problem. That sometimes Jews go to goyish court. You're not allowed to go to goyish court. You have to go to the Jewish court. It's a problem that the Jewish court doesn't always have power to enforce their psak. So then sometimes people will go to the Jewish court, and the Bezdin will say that we allow you to go to goyish court because we don't have the power to enforce. So, or sometimes also when they come to Bezdin, so then they make them sign a legal document that they are authorizing the Jewish court. Whatever they say, they become bound by the goyish law. So those things are utilizing the enforcement of the goyim, but the Jewish president is the one who's making the psak or allowing them to go to God. But technically, halachically, you're not supposed to go to goyish court. That time to get to us. We're going to get to the next point. The Brisa says this is what we need. Till now is parentheses. The fnei below the fnei diotos. Dafka smuchim and not the diotos. The people over there. Rashi. Another pshat. Another drash in the word lifneihem that it should be Jews. And not only Jews, it should be smuchim. It should be people that have smicha. Like Rashi says, the 70 elders. Lo lifnei diotos. So we are diotos. In Bavel, we had no smicha. So Abaye is asking Rav Yosef, how can we force to give a get? Amalei, so Rav Yosef said to Abaye, we are shluchim of the people in Eretz Yisrael. That we're in Bavel, but in Eretz Yisrael there are shluchim, and we are extension. We're their extension. We're their agents. We're doing it as a shliach for the bezdin of the shluchim. Just like there are other psakim also in monetary issues that also we paskin in Bavel, and also you really have to have a bezdin smuchim, and we're not in Bavel. Hodas means so somebody's moda, He's more that he owes money. Halvos that he lent money. So all these kind of financial machlokusin that you have invested in, you really have to have smuchim in order to paskin. So how can we do it in Babel? Because we're shluchim. So too, to force a get, we're also shluchim. Abdinan, we are doing their shlichus, their mission. We are doing their shlichus. Just like you see, by Hados and Alvos that we paskin on these financial issues, and also you'd have to have smuchim over there. So how do we have a right to do that? It's the same pasuk. You have to have smuchim. How do we paskin such kind of halachas in Babel? Because we're shluchim. So too, we can be shluchim to force a get. Yachik zelos v'chavolos nami. So
did they have smicha in Israel?
what is that?
At that time? At that time, did they have smicha in Israel?
It seems yes. It seems yes that even in the times of Baye, they had smicha.
And Bisman Hazeh,
I'm sorry.
how do we do it? Bisman Hazeh, how do we do it?
Right, because Bana said it's right. So Tais has the kasha. Tais has the kasha that in those days they were shluchim of the people in Babel, were shluchim of the people in Eretz Yisrael about smicha. But nowadays in Eretz Yisrael there's also no smicha. So that's Tais kasha someplace over here. Where did I see this? Ba'achshav, here's Tais to make it a little smaller. This Tais was from Milsa the Shlicha. Bim Tama ba'hecha avdina shlichusai ba'achshav ein mumcham be'Eretz Yisrael. Umid and Manurishus. Nobody has smicha nowadays. How is anybody able to do it? Yeshlama the shlichus the kamoy avdina. We're the shluchim of the earlier generations.
You could be a shliach of somebody who's dead.
I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Pine.
This guy be a shliach of somebody who's dead.
How could you be a
If somebody
shliach?
makes you a shliach and he dies, is that shliach still
I don't.
in power?
I don't know. And it's interesting. I thought that this was a Gemara. It's not a Gemara. It's a Tosfos. Tosfos talks about it. The Gemara just talks about people in Babel, Chuslavot, and Eretz Yisrael. That the Gemara is Teshlich Musayu. But here, the Tosfos is the one who's B'chadesh that we can be shluchim of the earlier generations, and that's a chiddush. And what's the question? Who says? First of all, who says?
Who said they made a mistake before?
Asking that technically should answer it. Somebody is there. So I don't know. That's not the subject. But the other question is to know something. But here I don't know. Here we're talking about having the authorization. So you're not authorized. Fine. So it means so it probably it doesn't mean exactly. I'm just saying that it doesn't mean literally a shlichus. It means something else.
Right. Couldn't have made a statement.
So what does that mean? Well, it's not shlichus. So what is it? What is that? The question is how does that work? What are the mechanics? We know shlichus. Now we're saying something besides shlichus. So we have to know in the mechanics how it works. That was the kasha. Okay, Tesh talks about it. That's the reference. Then we need more. So how come we don't paskin about theft and damages? We don't paskin nowadays. We don't paskin on these things. You have to have business muchim, and we're not authorized to do it. Best nowadays doesn't paskin on these halachos. Abalas are wounds, right? Abalas, right? The oath is admittance. Someone admits that he owes money. So we do paskin on that. If someone lends money, we also paskin on that. But if somebody steals, we don't paskin nowadays. And if somebody damages, wounds somebody, we also don't paskin that. Why not? If we're shluchim, so we're probably not smuchim. But you're saying that we're shluchim. So if we're shluchim, from the smuchim, so we do that also. The answer is kiyav din shlichusai the milsa the shlicha. The milsa lo shlicha lo din shlichusai. We only became shluchim, whatever that means, is appointment authorization, only for something which is usual. And hodos and alvos are usual. People admit that they owe money. People borrow money, but theft and wounds are not shchiyah. And Rashi says a get is also shchiyah. So therefore, we do become the shluchim for things that are shchiyah. They didn't make a shluchim for things that are not shchiyah, not usual. So hados, alvos, get, all these are shchiyah. But because they were spachavalos are not shchiyah, so they didn't make a shluchim for them. They could have, it seems, but they didn't. Therefore, nowadays we don't paskin on theft and damages, wounds. Tais asks Akasha, how do we accept gerim nowadays? Is that shchiach? Tais says yes. Mashanu b'kablam gerim, I forgot the get tzarachim u'momchim, because I mean about cholitz. Omri, the Dina Shlichusayu, the Choshev Kishlicha. Kasha, we had a couple of pages ago, we said Geras is not Shlicha. The Gemara Mama said these words, the Geras lo Shlicha. Okay. Shliach enough. That they made us Shluchim. Or you could say that they made us Shluchim for the things that are impossible. Those are going to be able to be Megaya. So they doesn't have to, maybe you can say a little different than Taisvus. It was important, it was necessary. Whatever you have to have a business, so they made us Shluchim for. Maybe get also, you can say the same answer also then. The question is, how many games do you know? In the old city, you know more. But the question is, how shchiach is it for somebody to become a ger? It doesn't show by the fact that it says supposed to love a ger. How many are there? How usual is it that people should become ger? Could be, depends on the generations. It could be, if I'm saying right, then you don't have to say that a ger is shchiach either. Just if the maybe another step besides being shchiach, and it means that there's not reason to make a shluchim. If it's shchiach, it could be also that it's necessary to give a get. It's necessary to have a ger. So they made that also. Then you could avoid saying that get a shchiach. So what was that all about? What was the whole Mishnah about? About get musa. This is the sugi of get musa. A forced get. Comes out, it's only kosher if it was Yisrael that kedin. And how do we do it? We're not smuchim. The answer is shtichusai kavdina. Next Mishnah. Yatsa shmo be'ir mekudeshes. The rumor went out that on a woman that she is married. Yeah, it came out. The rumor goes that she is married. Areza mukudeshes. So we have to be choshen that she's married. And even though she says no, but there's a rumor. The rumor we have to pay attention to, consider it, and therefore she would not be able to marry anybody else besides the one that they said that she's married to, unless she gets a get from him. Right, that's going to be a sugya now. This thing called the kol, a rumor, shmua. That's going to be the sugya today. So here it says that a rumor, shmua, a kol, that said that she's married. We consider her married, then she won't be able to marry anybody else besides the what's the word? The suspected, not suspected. There's a word for it. Okay. That the one who is the rumor goes out that she's married. The rumor went out that right. Oh, the one no, it's not a chazak. It's a rumor, and we have to be choshesh for the rumor. And they said that the line, whatever that word is, that the one who is said to be the husband, so she's not allowed to marry anybody else unless she gets a get from him. Oh, the Gemara is going to say that. The Gemara is going to talk about that. If the rumor went out, mugureshes, raise mugureshes. So also as far as divorce, if the rumor goes out that she's divorced, she's divorced. The Rashi says, of course, it doesn't mean that we're going to let her marry somebody else because you're not going to, because of a rumor, you're not going to be mater eshesish. So it doesn't mean that. It's not going to be a kula, it's going to be a chumrah. And the chumrah is going to be that she can't marry a kohen. If the rumor went out that she's a grusha, she can't marry a kohen. B'choshesh for the rumor. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. It sounds like the word mashal, but the idea, Rashi says, is that it's some kind of a, so Oscroll, let us look at Oscroll over here. They say a mitigating factor. Did I pronounce it right? Mitigating factor. If it means if there's something like a stipulation in the rumor, there's some knech that it could be, it's not 100%. It's not an absolute rumor. For instance, Ezi Amasla, what will be a case of a mitigating factor. Here is just plenty of sishal tonight. That the rumor itself says that it wasn't absolute that she was divorced. The rumor says that she was divorced on a condition. That means there's still room to say the condition was not fulfilled. So there's a mitigating factor. So if there was a tonight, then we say we're not cautious for the rumor. She doesn't have to prove that the condition, no condition. Once it has a call that didn't have an absolute call, it had it with a stipulation. So then it doesn't. We don't have to consider it. Another case, that the rumor came out that she's married, but not definitely. It's suffix. She's suffix married. That's what the rumor said. The rumor already said that she was married on a suffix. We're not sure when he threw it to her, the kedushin, if it was within her proximity or not. So that's a case of mitigating factor in the kedushin. Zuya Masla. So he gives two examples, one by Gerish and one by kedushin. Rashi says the examples could have been the opposite also. It could have been by Gerishin that it came with a suffix Gerishin, that he threw a get to her and a question if it was in her proximity. And it could be also kedushin al tonight. It gives two examples of a mitigating factor. Either it was al tanai or it was a suffix. So then you don't have to consider the kol. because it wasn't absolute. But if there was absolute call that said that the rumor comes out she's married, or the rumor comes out that she's divorced, you have to be a Choshesh Brit, and by the Kedushin, she wouldn't be allowed to marry anybody else. By the Gerushin, she wouldn't be allowed to marry a Kohen. No, no. In the suffer cases, she could marry a Kohen.
Oh.
That's the same. That's called an amasla. That's called that. It's not an absolute call. The only absolute call that we consider. If it's not an absolute call, we don't consider it. The Gemara is a problem by the get. Basrina law agavra. We're gonna ask her to be with her husband. The Gemara thinks that it says here that if, of course, I'm not going to be Mekel. We're only going to be Machmir, and she's also to a Kohen. That means that if her husband is a Kohen, and the call came out that she's a Gusha, so she can't stay married to him. Now, I'm not sure how the Gemara sees that in the Mishnah. Maybe the case is not that she's a married woman, but maybe she's a single woman. We know she's a single woman, and the call comes out that she's a divorcee. So she's not allowed to marry a Kohen. Well, what's wrong? Is it a nice plan? I don't see why the Gemara sees that she's a married woman. The Gemara understands that the case of the Grusha is that we know that she's a married woman. And now a call came out that she's a Grusha, so she can't stay married to her husband. And that's the Gemara's kasha. Why not? Any call that came out after the marriage, we don't worry about. So here, she was happily married, or she was definitely married, and it comes out a call that she's divorced. So we're not going to let that's after the marriage. So we don't worry. We're not going to make a woman get divorced from her husband because of a call. So I'm just putting in a footnote. I don't understand. Where's the Gemara see that she's a married woman? Maybe. Yeah. Okay. So this woman, she says she never was married, and the call comes out that she was married under. She comes into town and she's a pnuya. She's a single girl, and no matter how old she is, she says that she. And then a call comes out that she's a divorcee. That means that she was married and divorced. It's not a question of taking away from her husband. She wants to marry a Kohen, and the call comes out that she's not allowed to marry a Kohen. Isn't that a nice plan in the Mishnah? That is a call for Grusha, not for a married woman. How do you know? Who is? I'm saying that I don't see in the Mishnah. There's a story. The Gemara understands the story like you. That she's married with her husband right here, and then the call comes and says that she was divorced, so she can't stay with him. Then why is asking, she can't stay with him. So I'm just asking on the side footnote, how do you see that such a story? The Mishnah says if there's a coach is a grusha, she can't marry a kohen. It doesn't mean that she's a married woman. Maybe I would say the case was that she was known to be a pnuya, and then the call comes out that she was married and divorced. Maybe that's what the was going to answer, but I'm not. In Mugureshas, a raising Mugureshas. That's what Mugureshas means. What does Mugureshas mean? We spoke out in the Mishnah. Doesn't mean that she's allowed to marry somebody else because you're not going to be lenient because of a call. It's only a chumrah. So all the Mishnah means to say is that she's considered a grusha, that she cannot marry a kohen. That's what the Mishnah means. Mugureshas, if the call comes out that she's divorced, she's considered divorced, and she cannot marry a kohen. Yes. And the Gemara assumes that she's married to a kohen, and this is going to get her out of her husband. You're going to take a woman away from her husband because of a call? Ravashi says you don't take your woman out of her husband if the call came out after the marriage. So the Gemara said, you're right. It doesn't mean that. Nothing come out. The Mishnah means Yatsa Shema b'yom mukudeshes v'yizim mukudeshes. The beginning of the Mishnah is the way we learned it. That we didn't know that she's married, and the call comes that she's married. So we have to be choshesh she's married, and she's not allowed to marry anybody else besides the person that she's allegedly married to. But if the call came out mukudeshes and mukureshes, that we didn't know. As far as we know, she was nothing. And then a call comes out that she was married and divorced. Okay. Right. That's what the Gemara is making that k'meitz in the Mishnah. Not the Gureshes alone, but that the call goes out that she was married and divorced. So then we allow her to marry anybody. Anybody means not only the man that she was allegedly married to, since the call also came out that she was divorced from him, so it took off the first call. The call is a strong, it's able to beat itself up. So if the call was enough to answer her, another call that balances it out is mutter. It is allowed to nullify it. My timer. So the Gemara is saying no. The Gemara is saying no. That's not. That's what we thought, but that can't be. So the Gemara says you're right. That's not the pshat. Doesn't make a difference. The call comes out with Kudeshes and Mugureshes. She says I never was married. And the call comes out that she was married, whoever it is. Doesn't make a difference who it is. She was married and divorced. Now, is she allowed to marry somebody? Same it says she's allowed to marry, even though the call on the marriage would have asked her to marry anybody, which is the first line of the Mishnah. But if it also came out together with a nullification that whoever she married, she also got divorced from, so it says she's back to where she started from. Matam kol b'shover imo. It's a call that has its shover. The shover is like it breaks it, and nullification is what the Artscroll translates. That it has a call with its nullification. It comes with the bill with the receipt that she was married, but she also got divorced. Now the Gemara is not saying still about is she allowed to marry a Kohen. Is she allowed to marry a Kohen? It just says, Rashi says the point is to say that it took off the call. When the call came out that she was Mekudeshes only, she wouldn't be allowed to marry anybody besides the alleged husband. But if it came out Mekudeshes and Mugureshes, then she could marry out. I want to know, is she allowed to marry a Kohen? So then, okay, but Teres means that she doesn't have, till now she was also to everybody, now she's mutter to everybody. I don't know if Rashi means to say she's mutter even to her. The point is that she's not considered married to that person that she was allegedly married to. But Rashi doesn't go into the issue about Kohen. Maybe. So then I'll just go back and ask a simple question. Who told the Gemara is talking about that she was married and would take out of her husband? They come and they say that she's divorced. Of course, it means she was married and divorced, but the point is to say she's also taken. So she's mutter taken. The Gemara is not stressing that point. The Gemara is stressing that she's mutter kol v'shover imo. The Gemara is focusing on the fact that she was also to marry out, and now she's allowed to marry out, and doesn't even talk about the Kohen part. Mm-hmm. So, l'chora will be true. In my case, I'm not sure, but l'chora will be true that if it comes down a call on as far as we know, she's single and she never was married. But the call comes out that she was a Grusha, she wouldn't be allowed to marry a Kohen. The same way Yechosh is for Kedushin, Yechosh is for Gerushin. Just as one thing, that if the call came out after her marriage, we're not going to take out of her husband. And here, that's good. And here the Gemara says on top, that if the call came also that she was married to somebody, but she got divorced from him, so she's mutter. The call nullified itself. Look Gemara, second line. Amar Rabba, Yatzal Hashem Mazana Be'ir. Ein Chosh Zama. Came out as a rumor about a woman that she was Mazana, and she's not allowed to marry a Kohen. A Kohen's not allowed to marry a Zona. Besides, how does it say? That a Kohen's not allowed to marry a Zona. And she got a rumor that she's a Zona, which means she had relations with a Goy or with somebody that fosters her. So Ein Chosh Zama, my time up, Yisusa Ba'alno, Techazullah. That even though the rumor, we understand the rumor. The rumor, once somebody was Prutza, how could you say Prutza in English? Promiscuous. So then people talk, they don't really say exactly what she did. They already say that she was Mazan. They call her a zone already. When the call goes out that she's a zone, it doesn't have to mean literally she's a zone. For the bad conduct, she already gets the name of a zone, even though she was not. So the call is not strong enough to make her also to a call. Because they didn't mean that. They didn't say, it's not in the call. If the call says the Pharaoh says she was mamish, had relations, okay, so that allows her to a Kohen. But this fact that they say she's promiscuous doesn't mean that she was actually Mazana, and therefore she's not also to Kohen. Kitanoi. This is dependent on the Chokas Tanon. Achla b'shuk, Gigura b'shuk, Inika b'shuk. If she ate in the street, nowadays eating in the street, but in those days someone ate in the street, it's like a real pizzas. So she's chashan on everything already. Or Girgura b'shuk. What does Girgura mean? Rashi says she went with her outstretched neck, like a way of pizzas. She's walking around the street in a way that modest women don't walk that way. Catching attention, drawing attention. And Hinika b'shuk, she nursed a child in the public. So I don't know what it means. I don't know. But May says that's enough reason that you should. Here, May says this is enough reason that he should divorce her. Husband divorces her. Now here also, by the way, okay, this is not a call. This is not a rumor. This is a fact that this is the reason why she's not Das Yehudis, probably it's called. She's not acting like the modest Jewish woman, and therefore the husband has the right to divorce her on such grounds. Rabbi Kiva Omer, I don't know how to pronounce it, but he says only when there's a rumor about her, that she was Mazana. That what it means exactly, Rashi says it means the women who spin by moonlight. So, okay, culture changed nowadays, but used to have people that would schmooze, the women would schmooze and talk gossip when they would be spinning thread in the moonlight. So, Yisuvitu means to talk about it. Yisuvitu. Yishayisu, the Yitnuba. When people are talking about somebody, it's called a nosei v'nosei. They're discussing this nus of this woman when they are spinning in the. So Rashi says it means the, spinning thread. When they are spinning thread by the moonlight, so they sit and all get together in the courtyard. And means that this yeah here that's what they talk about, all the city gossip. So if it came so public that they're already schmoozing about her, so then that's the reason why he should divorce her. She has the name of his nus. Or this is divorcing her also about being also Kohen.
Can we say that these gossiping women are not reliable?
Here it talks about that there's a call. We're not talking about this Lashon Hara. Here it talks about that there's enough to be considered a rumor. If so, you're not going to let, you're going to be choshish for all these rumors, then you're not going to have any Jewish women that are going to be able to remain with their husband. Rashi says because there are going to be people that are going to make trouble. People will make rumors. If there be, yeah, this is a third sheet. You have Rav Meir, Rav Akiva, then Rav Yochanan ben Nuri. Rav Yochanan ben Nuri is the one who says you don't act on rumors so fast. That if you're going to be choshish for a rumor, then you're not going to let any of the Jewish women remain married because the rumors will come out. Rashi says that nobody's lacking enemies. That enemies might give out a false rumor. If you're going to make her get divorced because of a rumor, so rumors will come out. So it can't be. But Torah Amra, I think it's going to prove that the Torah says that only on real grounds are you going to make her get divorced. The person talks about that a husband divorces his wife because he found something about some kind of ervas davar, something shameful. Well, there's a word davar there again. What's a ervas davar? And here says you have to have two or three witnesses. Yakum davar. Just like by testimony, it says that you have to have 2 or 3 witnesses to testify. So too, much of ervas davar is only if you have testimony that she was Muzana. So it seems that Gemara is saying that the Gemara started off Rava, said you're not going to make her get, you're not going to trust the coal of Znus, and that seems to be like a Brechon Menuri, that you don't take action on a coal. Now I don't see it exactly because first of all, before we weren't talking about taking out of her husband. It was talking about Kohen Lachora. It doesn't talk about that. I don't know that Rava meant about Ein Choshesh in love. She's married to a Kohen, or why is she not married to a Kohen? I thought the Gemara even means if she's not married to a Kohen, also she'd be allowed to marry a Kohen. They're not Choshesh because they just meant that she was promiscuous, not that she actually was Mazana. When it brings down the 3 shitas, the Chor is shown out Rameir. Rabbi Akiva, it says also a rumor is enough to make to trust it. And if Yechmanui says you don't trust the Kohen. So I guess if I'm saying if Yechmanui, Rav holds like a Yechmanui. Yes, Chaim David. Okay, I'm a little confused because before the Gemara said Rav Ashi said that you don't take a woman out of her husband because of a call, and here Akiva seems to say yes, you do. So I don't get it. Rav Meir, Rav Akiva. Rav Meir talks about the fact that she's Achla B'Shokir, B'Shokir. There's no reason to divorce her. It doesn't sound after about answering her to her husband. I'm not sure. But Rav Akiva, that's talking about a Kohen, about Ashes Kohen. I can't say I have clarity what the Gemara sees in the Brisa. But Rava did paskin that on the call alone, you're not going to answer her to a Kohen, at least. Maybe it means you're not going to. Rav Ashi said before, you don't take a woman out of her husband because of a call. Needs more explanation. Tana Rabbanan. She has to have a list of things they're not choshesh for a call. B'ula ain't choshesh in love. If it came out a call that she had relations with her, she's a bula, she's not anymore a virgin. So you're not choshesh for that call. Rashi says the issue would be about marrying a Kohen Gadol. Question is if she's permitted to marry a Kohen Gadol. Is she a virgin or not? if the Kol says that she's a Bula, you don't worry about such a Kol. Is the point is going to be? So Rashi says all these Gemaras are going to talk about that the Kol has to be a very strong Kol. And just the news alone is not going to be enough. The Gemara said before that it's nus, could be just meant pritzos, only was being promiscuous, it's not mamish a kol. You're not choshesh for such kol, only if it's a very definite kind of a kol. The Mishnah spoke about getting married and getting divorced, and now we're going into other kinds of kolos. And the gist of the Gemara is going to be that you're not choshesh for a kol only if it's very definite. And znus, the word znus is used freely, so don't take it literally. It doesn't mean they actually have relations. Here it says also if there's a kol that she's a bu'ula, that's not enough to be worried about. The Gemara is going to say soon how strong it has to be. Nesua in choshesh zama. If it came out of kol that she's married, also not choshesh. Arusa in choshesh zama, that she had kedushin, she also not choshesh for that kol. Shalom ploni in choshesh zama. This is what I've asked before. That she said that she's married, but it didn't say to who. Very vague. She got married, but he didn't say to. That's not enough of a kol. It has to be specific to who she was married. If the call comes out that she was married in a different city, it's too far away to be choshesh for such a thing. It means if they say it in the same city, so then it has more thrust, more value. But to say that she got married someplace else, it's too vague. Not choshesh for that. If a call comes out mamzeres, also in choshesh Allah, shivcha in choshesh Allah. You're not choshesh for that call. Someone says that she was married.
Sounds like in the city. What's the difference between that and the difference?
So the Gemara is going to say at the end what you have to have in order to be choshesh. We'll see what yes, all this is not a problem. What is a problem? We'll see. Shivcha, so he said mamzeres. So Kol comes out there, she's a mamzeres. You're not worried about that. Kol is not enough to act on. Shivcha and choshesh.
Is there a different price?
No, it's one brisa that has a list of many things. Be'ula, Nesua, Arusa, Shalom Ploni, Biacheres, Mamzeres, Shivcha. Further, we have 7 so far. You have Chalitza? You have Chalitza? Where do you have Chalitza?
I had it at
Is he says that there's another Gersa, the Rif and the Rosh have that Gersa of Chalutza also. He's taking Chalutza. Lula, Chalutza, Nesua. He doesn't, I don't, he doesn't replace anything, he doesn't has it. He has it. Okay. And then the next one, not about marriage. Hiktish Poni Lechosa. The rumor comes out that somebody was makdish all of his estate. So now the issue is he allowed to be netted from his estate? So is he allowed to benefit from his estate? It's hektish. The rumor says that it's hektish. The rumor that someone consecrated all of his estate.
Mm-hmm.
And he says it wasn't true. And he wants to go into his car. They say, no, your car is hektish. So you don't have to be choshesh for it. This I'm not sure what halacha with. The rumor goes out that he was mafka everything. What if people want to take it? What do they want to do? He's allowed to take it also. But it seems that you want to be somewhat on the rumor to take it away. You heard that he was mafka everything, so you come and take his car. So he says, no, I wasn't mafka it. You can't rely on the coal to steal from him. I'm not, maybe a better shot. That's what I got so far. And all these things. What does that do with hefker?
No, maybe.
I didn't just guess. No, she didn't say that. By hector, she didn't say that. Okay, that's a brisa. Now the Gemara is going to get to say, what are you choshesh for? The brisa said, the Mishnah says you are choshesh for a kol. The Teshes, but the Reshes, you are choshesh for a kol. So which kol are you choshesh for? Amra'ula lo sheshamu kol avara. To say that a rumor that something happened, just hearing an echo, something like that. The word havara usually literally means an echo. That means just to hear I heard something. That's not enough to say that she got married. Ella Kadesh Yehu Neres Dolkos Amitas Mutzos when the other Mefasim Yotzim, but Omrim Flonis Mukadesha Sayom. Only if there was a wedding. They said there was a wedding ceremony. There was what we would call there was a hall and everybody came and it was all set up for the dinner and the machitza was up for the dancing, whatever. Something that would say that there was actually a marriage going on. There was Dolkos that the lights are on, which they used to make a lot of light by a wedding. Mitas Mutzos means that you have the couches all set for the meal. Over the other, people are coming and going, all the guests are coming. And people are saying that Flonus is getting married today. That's called the call that she got married. They can't just to say that she's kedushin. So Rashi seems to say that they say she's married woman. She's already in kedusha arusa. That's mamish nothing. It has to be that the call goes out that she got married today. That there was a wedding celebration today, wedding ceremony, wedding celebration. That people are saying that something could be that if let's say it was yesterday, it's also the same point. But the point is to say that there was a definite day. There was a wedding celebration. Not
More
that
detailed.
Right. Right. The Gemara doesn't like even this. Miskadeshes, that she's getting married, but then she was getting married, but it didn't work out for whatever reason. The husband didn't come. It's a kasha. It's quoting what we just finished saying. It said 2 words before. It says Lonis Miskadeshes Hayom. That word Miskadeshes, the Gemara is opening up a window. Miskadeshes, the Gemara even though it's true that she was getting married, that doesn't mean she actually got married. So we have to make an edit over there. That she got married today. That there was a whole wedding celebration and she got married. That's a bona fide call that you have to consider. And she's not allowed to marry anybody else now. And we said it has to be Dafka Ploni, right? We said in the Brisa it has to be Ploni. If it says you got married, you know to who, it's also not good enough. And now you go back about the other city. If they say all this happened in a different city, it's also not binding. Only if it will be in this city. So that was, who said all this? Ula. Levi said over Bryce, I said the same thing, I think word for word. Not they just heard a sound, that she's married. This I didn't get. Maybe there's a gears to change here. Nashim, women are spinning. What do they do? Can they come to the chasna with their spinning, with their spindle? Laura there. Who was Laura Lavana? Something's wrong over here. I tried to look in the gears.
I'm just guessing, maybe there was so much light. Not that they actually did. It was the capability of it.
Okay, that's what they say. It's over there, like somebody says Sheva. No, over there he says it, but I thought someone would say it over here. Well, Laura and there. What are they doing spinning by Laura and there? They come to the house with the spin. And what? And they come to spin the low? They come to spin. It wasn't the same culture as nowadays.
Spinning is. Maybe the people that were invited. They know it's a private lighting.
They come to schmooze by the chasana. So you spin it at night in the daytime. That they were okay. That's similar to say that it was so light that people. So it should have been. It should have gone before. Nearest Dolko. The order is not so nice. The order is not so nice. Nearest Dolkos. It should have been together with Neres Dolkos. If he puts in between that Mitas Mutzos, then it goes back that the light is so big that the woman could spin. Okay, I don't know. I got confused with this. And the Ashkol had no problem. I don't know. Oh, they're not talking Lashon Hara. Everyone's happy with her. It's not these Lashon Hara ladies. These are the people that are celebrating, that they're rejoicing and say Flonus is getting married. Says Imam Shabrai, a word for word come out from Ula. The more again jumps up, Miskadeshes, but then she was getting married. Doesn't mean she got married. You have to amend the price also and say that she got married. Further, also the same thing. So when the other husband of Yosef, now a little bit more. He says a little bit different. Then I would say that has to be a serious thing that they say that there was a certain celebration. The rumor goes out that there was an celebration with the lights and the band and the catering. And Amu Davar, Zeoko. Lo Amu Davar, Zeo Masla. So we don't know exactly what that means. If it was going to analyze it, coming in and out. People coming in and out. All the guests. What's the chuppah? What's the house? People are coming in and out. And the other and the husband of the Yosef. People are coming in and out. People, yes, coming in and out. There was no wedding all those days. There was, but when they got, no, it says Bnei Adam, the husband of the Yosef. People are coming and going. Like you see by the halls, you go stand by the doors. People are coming and going. Amru, Dovor. If they said something, what I will see, sell coal. Then it's going to be a call that she got married. Lo amru davar zeh masla. So the Gemara says that's not what it means. What does it mean they didn't say? What didn't they say? Lo amru. They didn't say that she got married. Well, lo amru. The lo klum. They didn't say anything. So the Gemara doesn't know what Rebbe trying to say. Amru, then it is a call. Lo amru is not a call. So the Gemara explains the fukim with the Rabba Bar Avuna Dama Amasla Shu Amru Afilu Mikan Ba'ad Asara Yom. The Mishnah said that if the call comes with a mitigating factor that the hospital says, or some kind of stipulation that makes that it's not an absolute call, then it doesn't have the validity of a call. Only if it comes as an absolute call. So there's a question later on in the Gemara, which we'll see tomorrow.
Go back to that.
That was the Mishnah, right? That it's not a call if it has an amasla, only if it has no amasla. So there's a question: if the call came out, then later on the amasla came out. Let's say amasla means a condition or a suffix. So first the call came out that she's married, and then 10 days later it came out that it was on a condition. Is that enough to break the call?
Yes.
Says machlokas later on. So Rabbi Bar Huna said, "Amasa shamu afilu mekan barashar yamin." Rabbi Bar Huna said, yes, that like Han David, that if the amasla comes out even 10 days later after the call, it also breaks the call. But Rabbi Yochanan here meant to say not like that. He wanted to be lachuke with the Rabbi Bar Huna. Kamash Mulan, that lo amru hu davi amasla, amru davi amasla. So Rashi, I don't get the words exactly how he fit into the Gemara. Rashi says, okay, come on. If it didn't come out a clear call, lo gamra double osi call mukoyim musuyim elo tzio shober makol. If it wasn't an absolute call, but some kind of a stipulation, a mitigating factor came out, that is a good call. Again, I'm sorry. Lo gamru, lo amru, that's an amasla. What is not that they didn't say anything. If they didn't say an absolute call, then it's not a call. Amru Dova Mukuyim Sulaman Yamasla. Only if originally they didn't say an absolute thing. Rabbi Yochanan holds that the Amasla cannot break the call later on. It only can break the call if it's immediate. Amru Dova Mukuyim, you can't make an Amasla anymore. I don't get it in the words. Well, Rashi's putting it into the words. When? What's an Amasla? If they didn't say a davar barur, lo amru, they didn't say a davar barur lachatchila. When they said the call, it wasn't an absolute call because it had a stipulation in it right away. That's when it's an amasla. But if it was an absolute, but if it was an absolute call, it doesn't have an amasla later on. So it comes out that Rabbi Bar Huna said that you could break the call even 10 days later by adding on the amasla. Rabbi Yochanan argues and says that once it was a good call, then the master can't break it anymore. Later on, it has to be a call that comes out with that master. The Gemara continues. Amar Rabbi Abba, Amar Rapuna, Amar Rab. Lo sheshamu kol avara. Again, everyone's saying that the call has to be a serious call. I heard a rumor. Where do you hear it from? I have no idea. I just heard a rumor. In the mikvah, I heard something in the mikvah. I don't know who was talking. I heard a rumor that's not enough. Ella kidei shamu ploni mechen shama mi ploni me ploni. Both can hold not sham again ledavar barur. That he asked, who do you hear it from? He says, I heard it from this person. And then you go to that person, who do you hear it from? He says, I heard it from that person. You go back and back till you get to the source, and then you have a davar barur. That's a call. But if it's just I heard, and you say, who do you hear from? I don't know where I heard from. I was on the train and I heard. That's not enough. It has to be that you heard from somebody specific, and you go to that person and find out who he heard it from. But the Gemara says that's more than a call. Then he did so good that the Imamish got evidence. If it's so clear, then it's Mamish a full witness. It's not a call. A call means a rumor. This is Mamish testimony. You went back to the source. You found out the people said that she's married or she's divorced. So it's not called a call. If you check back each person until you got to the root, and then that first person says, yeah, I know for a fact. I saw it. So then it's not a call. That's Mamish Edus. Look, Yosef Rav Shmuel Bar Yudah, Rav Huna, Rav. Yeah, before Rav Abba, Rav Huna, Rav. But now we're adding on a little bit more. Rav Shmuel Bar Yudah, he's the one who said it in the name of Rav Abba, Rav Huna, Rav. Lo sheshamu kol avara. Ela kidei shamu ploni mechen shama miploni. The ploni miploni. V'alchu lam l'din esayam. That they do go back. I heard it from him. I heard it from him. I heard it from this Reuben, Shimon, Levi. And where's Levi? Levi, he went overseas, so he's not available anymore. If he'd mamish be, they still have to stay where they heard it from, as far back as they can go. Then he got stuck because one of the people on the chain is not available anymore. So that's enough to make it call. But it's not just I'm in the luft that I heard somebody. I don't know who I heard. You have to know who you heard. and you go back to the person who heard him, until you go back to as far as you can go. If you went back mamish to the source that says I saw it, that is mamish edus. If you didn't, because it's overseas, not available, so then it's called a call. But it has to be more definite. It can't just be I heard and I have no idea what I heard from, who I heard from. First wide line. I'm gonna
So you heard that you didn't wait person.
I heard from Reuben. So you go to Reuben. Where'd you hear it from? From Shimon. You go to Shimon. Who'd you hear from? From Levi. Where's Levi? He went out of town. He's not available anymore. He died. Whatever the case is, he's not available. So then it's a call. Right, not right. That's not called, but that's a serious rumor. Real people. But it's not. Yes. You can't verify it. But if you could verify it, then it's verified. Then it's mamish. Then it's this. First wide line. Oh, yeah, by the way, Yosef. Mabatlinan kala or lo mabatlinan? Do we nullify a call? There's a call going around. Do we knock it down? Do we knock down the call and shush it up? Rav Chisda says only if you hear from kosher people. Sounds like Aiden and stuff like that. I'm not sure what Rav Chisda is. No one tells us. I didn't see what Rav Chisda is talking about. But if you have to have kshev, that sound, I'm not sure what he's saying. I know what the raya is. That you see that you do nullify the call. You shush up the call and you stop it. You stop the call. Amalei Adrabah, but then Rav Sheshes, Afilu Mipin Nashim have a call. Shmamila Lomavatin Kala. Rav Sheshes said that even a rumor from women is also enough to make a call. That means that you do take the call seriously and you're not going to nullify it. I don't see a connection between these two things. There's a machlokes, ksherim or nashim. When you hear a rumor, so I said Ruvain, Shimon, Levi. How about women? How about Rachel, Leah? Is that also enough to make a call? So Rav Chisda says no. Rav Sheshes says yes. And they was making a comparison that so too, if you choshish for a call even from nashim, so then you're not going to nullify the call. So it makes a machlokes. So Rav Chisda, Rav Sheshes, Amalei, Asra Basan, and it's places. It means it depends on minhag hamakam. There's some places do, some places don't. Pesum about the kola, but na'adah lam about the kola. We had this more before. We said Shmuel from na'adah that Rav seems to hold like Rav Chisda, Achishman with Piach Shevim, and you're going to move up to the call. And in na'adah, they're more machmir, and lam about the kola, maybe point to even nashim. Story. There was a woman that came out of call about it that she was married to a certain Talmud. So a call came out about it that she's married. Asye Rav Chama Lavua. So Rav Chama brought the father of this girl. Amalei Emily Hechi Haba. The Moses, what happened? What happened that there's a call going out that the daughter's married? Amalei Al Tanai Kaddish. He did marry her on a condition. That's on Masla. That she was married on a condition. They said that he's not going to go to Beichazoi. It's a faraway place. He married, and he said, on the condition that I don't go to Beichazoi. But the Maisa, the father said, he did go to Beichazoi, so she's not married. Amalei, so Rav Chama said, we said before that the coal that comes out within a masla, so it's not a good coal. It's not only if it's absolute. And this was a tanai. So it should be an amasla. But here he says, no, that's only if the masla comes out together, which is similar to what we said before about the 10 days. That when it came out, it was tamakol, she got married. Then later on, the father comes and says, there was a tanai, he's making an amasla. He's making a mitigating factor. That it's true she was married, but she was married al tanai. The tanai wasn't fulfilled. So he says, no. At the time of the call, there was no amasla. So you're not believed to tell us an amasla we didn't know about. So he's choshesh for the call. This woman who had a call that she got married, even though later on the father comes and says there was a tanai, he's not believed, and he has to verify. If he can verify there was a tanai that was not fulfilled, okay, he disproved the code. But if not, the choshesh that she's married, she's not allowed to marry anybody else. So Rashi says, call came out that she got married with something very cheap. Tomorrow, there's dates that don't ripen on their own. You have to put it into some kind of a wicker basket that should make it that it should get ripened. And even when it gets ripened, also not all the food comes off the pit. Some sticks on the pit. So that little bit of date matter that's on the pit, it's called this thing of atzifa de tuchla. So someone was Makadasha with a little bit of date in a place called Eina de Beishifi. That's not relevant to us in this certain place. So it came out of rumor that she got married. So they sent the question to Rabbi, is this a call that she's married? The call comes out that she was married. Even if those hold that you don't nullify a call, this one we are going to nullify. Because even the call says that if she was married with a very cheap piece of date. It's not going against the call because the fact that we say that it's not a marriage, people will realize that the date was not considered a Shabbat. The piece of a date, such a small thing as Makadosh were, so it's not like going against the call. The call itself says that very possible she's not married. Depends if it's for the Shabbat or not. What do you say about this? In this case, what's the law? So he said, even if you hold, you're not usually about the call, this one you could be about because people will say that the Rabbanan investigated and they saw that it wasn't a Shabbat Pita. One more similar story.
The value of
the date, it wasn't worth Shabbat Pita. So they're not going against the call, it's just verifying the call that it was a piece of date and it wasn't a Shabbat Pita. Vagabamba is the Shabbat Pita.
Yeah, but surely it's
Shabbat Pita, what's special? I'm not saying advising anybody should do that, but that's not the point. The point is it's Shabbat Pita. A call came out that she got married to one of the family. Didn't say which one is exactly. One of the family. One of the sons of Ploni. Even if you hold that you don't nullify a call, this one we will, because it's not mamash going against the call. That even though the call said she was married to one of the sons, but some of the sons are adults, some of them are minors. So they'll say that the Rabbanan investigated, they saw that the kedushin was to the minor son, and therefore it's not kedushin. So it's not fighting, you're not going head on against the call. Another story, it came out a call that she got married to a katan who looked big. He looked like a bar mitzvah already, but really he was a katan. That was the call. I guess it means that the call itself says that she was not married. What's the case over here? No, she doesn't say.
Where is it?
The fourth line. Beginning of the fourth line. He the nafak that she was married to a katan in Nira. I'm not sure. It means the point is to say that it could be she's not married, but even according to the call, because it could be that as a katan. That there was a story that they said that he was not. No, that wasn't Flagos Ruvain. So Shinema, the Flagos Ruvain, Gedolim Chikrele. That's in Shiras Tabora. So Rashi says that the point is that he was not smart. Ein Chachma. Like it says by Gedolim Chikrele, that the adults have seichel. And this one, even though he was tall, looked like a big boy, but everybody saw that he's a katan because he acted like a katan. When she's married to somebody else, it does say that they realized that it was a katan. The point of these two Gemaras is to say that even if the call came out that she's married, but if it's possible she's married to a katan, so it's not a call. So anytime that you could explain the call, not to go against the call, they're knocking down the call, you can't knock down the call, but to explain that the call is not really saying that she's married because it wasn't a Shabbat Pruta, the kid was a katan, so then no, the katan that shows he was really a katan. Even though he's a big boy, he's a tall kid, 6-footer, but the way he acts, we see that he's really only 12 years old. So that's enough to say that it wasn't a kedushin because he has to be an adult. It doesn't make a difference how tall he is. So that's enough to reason to say that there was no marriage and it's not not clashing with the call, and therefore you say that it was nothing and she was not married. Yashikochachem. Thank you.